Karl, le plus important, c'est l'amitié, c'est la confiance, c'est l'amour.
Daniel, you are no stranger to playing characters based on real people. How did your preparation for Karl compare to somebody like Nikki or Roland or even Matthias Erzberger?
Well, you could say that on the one hand, it's always a similar process, and on the other hand, well, obviously specifically different in whatever is demanded, of you, and I'm always trying to look out for projects that offer me the chance to do something that I haven't done before. So there were a lot of new doors and fields and paths that I was exploring and trying to find the truth for me to believe myself that I could play this iconic man called Karl Lagerfeld. So I guess it always starts with reading a lot. That's what I did. So there were 3 different biographies. Then, fortunately, even at a young age, Karl Lagerfeld was very clever in promoting himself. So there's a lot of interviews that you can find, of that time, which were very helpful. Photos, documentaries, etc., etc. And then there's a moment when you put all that away and try to become the character. And I do this preferably on my own, of course. I moved to the mountains in Spain. So my first spectators were 2 sheep and a donkey were always looking at me when I was walking up and down, talking to myself in French, and trying to sound like a Karl Lagerfeld. It was a murr. And then, one day something in you makes click because you found something interesting and you follow that thread, that path, and then and so forth. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that you slowly put together. And then the moment of the truth is when you find and meet the other actors, and when you really go for it, And then I was so lucky because at the core of this show, the heart of this show is the love story between Karl Lagerfeld and Jacques de Bascher. And it was an immense luck to have had the opportunity to do this with this gentleman here.
And that leads me to my next question, which is, Karl and Jacques have very different love languages. They have very different approaches to passion and intimacy. And I'm curious for both of you, what was it like getting to play with those 2 extremes and kind of finding that balance between the 2 men?
Well, I think that's the whole thing that's the whole show, like trying to find that balance. And the thing is that they don't. Like, it's almost impossible when you exist at such polar opposites, it's almost impossible to find a common ground. And they also are such, excessive characters and huge personalities that they aren't really people who are that willing to, what's the word in English, to allow to like make the steps, but they both try and they do and they will, and then they come back, and then it's this constant like dance and battle. And also dance with the other one because there's an inner battle to like try to reach the other. So yeah, I think that's what's so fascinating about the 2 of them, is that for 10 years they try and they try and they try, and it gets ugly. It really does, but it's also like such breaches of beauty through that.
I found it so interesting in the show, and touching is that anachronistic element to it, because it's the wild 70s. It's about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And these guys, like in a novel of the 19th century, they live their strange fairy tale like romance, and for Karl Lagerfeld, he was truly the only big love of his life, in times where everybody was sleeping with each other, and there was such that sexual liberation, and so it was so out of tune and time, which is a very interesting aspect also in this show.
It is. I love that you mentioned that it's like this 19th century romance, because the most memorable scene for me was the scene at the chateau where he goes to his bedroom and he's like in the nightgown with the lantern, and he's like a romance shy maiden out of one of Jane Austen's novels or something like that. And it was like such a great moment to see that.
They both live in fiction, right? There's like they're both like trying to build this world around themselves. And so how do they meet in real life is like this constant fight also.
Absolutely. And Theodore, a question for you. Essentially, Jacques spends a lot of this series kind of spiraling, for lack of a better word. What was the center point, like the truth that you kind of held to keep him grounded when he is in this free fall?
I think in the show particularly is the love that he has for Karl. That had to be very like the foundation of it. Because for at the beginning I was like, is it really love, or is he just wanting to have access to this world, and is he just like fascinated by him? But then I was like, no, it cannot be anything else but like a true love. And I'm sure that there are other aspects and that sometimes it morphs, but that love is kind of the basis of it, right? And so I would say that was the thing, and for me the truth of Jacques in the show laid in constant reaction to Karl's actions or lack of actions. It's always kind of trying to be seen by him and get the love and be loved by him in the way that he wishes. So yes, I think that's why he's spiraling in a way. It's this because still Karl, even though he tries, is a very inaccessible man, and he's still kind of has a wall.
I really like the way that the series used food to kind of examine like how Karl is feeling at different points in his life. And I had a fun question for both of you. You know, is there a dessert or a food dish that you kind of lean on during stressful times at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
I eat chocolate a lot. I love it. Sorry, it's kind of boring. No chocolate.
I mean, hey, chocolate is.
I got a crazy one for you guys. Just hold on.
So funky.
Yeah.
The true question is dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
I try sometimes. I'm like, I'll be a good one. I go for dark chocolate, but then I'm like, I want the sugars.
Do you say sweet tooth in English?
Yes.
I'm not that much of a sweet tooth, but in France, I mean, now that we are in Paris, it's incredible what they come up with. So starting with the tartelette. Yeah. It's like mini tarts, you know, with raspberries. Oh God, raspberry and this it's what is it? The classic is raspberry little tarts, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm not doing this. No, anyways, if you go to these tarts. Yeah, the fact that they have the boulangerie and patisserie, that it is so specific. In Germany, if you want to buy a cake, you buy it at the same place where you buy the bread, you know, and here it's just so refined, and that even I sometimes think like, delicious.
I love that. Daniel, seeing Andy Warhol in this series reminded me that we still don't have a release date for the collaboration yet. Has there been any movement at all for that movie on your side?
That's a very good question. No, I have to check in. No. The other day I was thinking about them too. I enjoyed it a lot, you know, to work on the film and to play Bruno Bischofberger. So no, to be honest, I don't know. I can't give you any news. It will come out soon, I guess. Yeah.
I really love art history, so that's like on my list of films. I'm like, when is this release date going to happen?
It was before Karl Lagerfeld. We shot it in Boston. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Paul Bettany and Jeremy Pope. I mean, wonderful.
Fantastic.
They the play, and then they did the adaptation. It was the same director who did the play, who did the film. So.
Well, hopefully they see this and they're like, yes, we need to set that release date for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. And Daniel, I hope I get to chat with you again when the franchise comes out.
Oh, yes.
Yes, very excited for
that. That was fun.
I can't wait. I saw it just wrapped like 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.